Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So I am back in Los Angeles at my mom's apartment right now. I'm going to spend Christmas with her in LA here before I go back to Hong Kong in January. I have an exciting video today because I just got the Oppo Find N. So what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to unbox the phone and then set it up. I'm going to do all this on camera so you guys can go through the process for me just to see how the software situation is for Oppo's very first foldable. Let's begin. Okay, now let's get to the main event, the Find N. Nice. Let's do that first fold. Ooh, this feels good. And yes, the hinge stays in place just like a Samsung Galaxy phone. Let's boot up the phone for the first time. So we have a power button here that doubles as a fingerprint sensor, and the volume rocker is on the left side of the device. Let's begin setup. Oh, it's nice to see they already support a bunch of languages, even though this phone only sells in China. So this is to sign in to Oppo's account. I'm gonna skip because I don't think I have one. Import data from your old phone. I'm gonna skip and do that myself. Gestures as navigation buttons, gestures of course, and you can set up fingerprint. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the wallpaper, just so we get a better look at the screen. So yeah, you can't really see the crease, and even when you run your finger through the screen, you don't really feel the crease. See, extreme angles, you still don't see it. So Oppo managed to do this just like the same thing that Huawei did by building a little cavity inside the hinge so that when you fold, you see the screen is not folding completely flat. It folds in like this little water drop, and the phone folds completely flush. Now compare that with the Galaxy Z Fold 3, where as soon as you turn the phone a little bit, you see a crease right here, and you can feel it with your finger because this is a much sharper fold. You see, you're folding it directly on just one point. So this phone runs ColorOS version 12 over Android 11. And because I was pre-briefed by Oppo before I got this device, I already know some of the software tricks that you can do. For example, you can split screen by swiping down the middle with two fingers like this. This is pretty cool. And then you can open two apps side by side, and I think here you can also switch apps like this. Yep. And you can also resize the windows a little bit, and then you can also activate floating window by using four-finger pinch like this, and the window can be resized, or you can just swipe it to the side and it'll just disappear off to the side. So because the Find N only sells in China, this phone runs China's version of ColorOS, so there is no Google apps out of the box. But if you jump in the Oppo App Store, you should be able to download Google apps right here. So I've already installed Gmail. So you should be able to set up right here like this. Yep, Gmail's working, so that means you know Google Mobile Services is running in this phone. So now I just need to get the Google Play Store. I don't see it here in Oppo's App Store, but I can always just get this at a trusted third-party site like APK Pure or APK Mirror. So just like that, I have Google Play Store running. Okay, let's jump into settings to see what else the UI has to offer. So you go into special features, you will see a bunch of stuff here, including flexible window. I think this is just, yeah, it teaches you how to do the split screen multitasking, the floating windows that I already showed you earlier. You have quick return bubbles, so I believe this only works with native Chinese apps, so it won't really matter to me or most of you guys watching this. But basically, a pop-up bubble will show up when there's relevant information on another app, and then one tap will bring you back to the app. So the example being shown here is, let's say you have navigation running in the background, or not using Google Maps but using Chinese Baidu apps. So if you're somewhere else, like you're on Instagram and it's time to make a turn, a little pop-up window will show up here, and then if you tap on the window, it will bring you directly to that app. So you have Smart Sidebar, which, as the name implies, is this little pull over menu here that has shortcuts that you can access. You can set up split screen apps right here, so you can just one tap open two apps at the same time. Kit space, this is probably to set up a segmented portion of the phone with, with all your private personal apps out of the way, to make sure that your kid, don't accidentally jump on your Instagram and see photos they're not supposed to see. Driving mode, sleep mode, these are self-explanatory. Gestures and motions. So screen off gestures, if you use an Oppo or OnePlus phone before, you will know what these are. So for example, you can double tap to turn on or off the screen, or you can draw a V to turn on flashlight, draw an O to open the camera. And you see here, add gesture, so that means you can add more. So you can draw an M to do one of these actions. You can open an app and you can pick any app, so you can have it so anytime you draw an M, it will open up like Google Maps or Instagram or something. So that seems to be about it in terms of software. So I'm going to set up the phone to my liking, and then I will be back with more impressions. Alright guys, I'm back. I took the Find N out for an afternoon. So here are my quick thoughts. I am very, very impressed with the Oppo Find N. In terms of hardware, I prefer the Oppo Find N over the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, mainly because when the phone is folded, the Find N has a wider outside screen. This is a 5.5 inch 18:9 aspect ratio, so it feels much more like a normal smartphone. In fact, 5.5 inch by 2021 standards, or almost 2022 standards, it's small. So this phone's really compact and really easy to use with one hand. And because it's a little bit wider, I can two-hand type on this on the outside screen without any issues. I can type on it at full speed. With the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, ultimately, it's just a little bit cramped to type, particularly if you're trying to two-hand thumb type. I find that it's very cramped because it's so narrow. Another part of the hardware that I like over the Galaxy Z Fold 3 is that Oppo added more curvature to the device. So the main screen, it's actually curved a little bit on the right side. So it feels like more like a curvy slab Android smartphone. And also the hinge corner right here, it's also rounded and curved. Now in the Galaxy Z Fold 3, Samsung has already fixed it a little bit by making it rounder, but it is still a little bit sharp. When you hold the phone like this, it still digs into your palm. The problem was worse on the Galaxy Z Fold 2. On the Z Fold 2, this part was completely pointy. So when you hold the phone like this and push it into your palm, it does not feel comfortable. It's a little bit better on the Fold 3, but it's still there. On the Oppo Find N, just like on the Huawei Mate X2, when you hold the phone like this, you don't really feel any sharp points because the whole phone, it's a little bit more rounded and curvy all around. I mean, there's just no getting around it. I like this hardware better than the Z Fold 3, especially when you factor in the fact that there's no crease. I mean, very minimal crease on the screen that you can't really see. However, hardware is only half the story. There's still software. Now, I already went through the software a little bit. Overall, the software is pretty polished. I love this gesture, this pinch gesture to go into multitasking. However, hardware is only half the story. Software still plays a big part. And as I already mentioned, overall ColorOS on here is very polished for a foldable device. I really like this pinch action to open a floating window or swipe down with two fingers to go into split screen. Everything is very intuitive so far, but there are a little bit of software quirks that Oppo will probably have to work on, because when you open up the phone, it's a wide screen aspect ratio. This is the landscape aspect ratio, 7.2 inch display. So some apps don't open in the same orientation every time. For example, if you open WhatsApp, it's fine, it'll be in portrait orientation. Open Firefox, same thing. But then if you open YouTube Studios, it automatically opens sideways like this. And there's nothing you can do to rotate it. And then for certain apps like Instagram, you get major pillar boxing on the left and right side, and there's nothing you can do. On the Galaxy Z Fold 3, Samsung gives you the option to stretch Instagram across the entire screen. You cannot do that so far on the Oppo Find N. But so far, if I'm being honest, the Galaxy Z Fold 3 software is a little bit more polished than the software on the Oppo Find N. But then the Oppo Find N has better hardware than the Galaxy Z Fold 3. So it's going to be a tough battle between these two phones. Now, this is just a video I'm making after one afternoon with the device. I'm definitely going to cover this phone a lot more, including camera comparisons and a full review. So stay tuned for more content. This is just very early impressions of the Oppo Find N. But I am very glad this thing exists. And one last thing, we have to talk about the price. This phone sells for around 8,600 Chinese RMB, which converts to $1,200. That is crazy, $1,200, and it has a better screen than what Samsung's asking for, $1,800. Same processor, larger battery, 4,500 mAh, 12 gigs of RAM in here, and a hinge that feels every bit as sturdy as the Galaxy Z Fold 3. However, the Z Fold 3 has official IP water resistance rating. You don't get that here. But other than that, and the software quirks I mentioned, I would prefer to use the Oppo Find N over the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 most of the time. This aspect ratio just fits what I do a lot better. So anyway, that's about it for this video. I'm gonna have a lot more content coming up on this phone and other stuff too. I just got the Nreal Light. These are like the glasses that you put on, AR glasses. So I'm gonna probably test these out over the next couple of days. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with all the latest gadgets, please consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.